Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakodash, and doing honors to the apostles and elders, great Muslims, salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother, I'm Noah Allah from German, Chicago, and coming back with you with another lesson about the Third World War will be a nuclear war. All right, and according to prophecy, all right, that is written in the scriptures, all right, it goes to show you that America is going to be destroyed by the way of thermonuclear missiles, ICBM missiles, and all these countries, all right, even NATO, America's allies, NATO and the EU, and America's enemies, all right, they're all going to point their missiles here on America, all right. It is ultimately going to be destroyed by the way of thermonuclear missiles. Well, nonetheless, I'm going to start with Isaiah 9:5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning in fuel of fire." And yeah, this Third World War that's about to really take place after the MOTB has been implemented. All right, it'll be a nuclear war. All right, and nuclear missiles. All right, they're prophesied, into the scriptures. All right, Joel 2:1, the terrible visitation. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, which is that what we're doing right now. All right, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord hand. And that's right. That's what we're doing right now. Keeping watch. War in the house of Israel. Of the prophecies that are to come. All right, the things that are about to take place here on this earth. The MOTB, martial law, Jacob's trouble. All right, World War III. All right, the deliverance. All right, we're telling our people all these things because it is written in the scriptures. All right, and the day of the Lord is now nigh at hand. It says, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and a thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. And that's right. The day of the Lord is going to be nothing like anything else that we have ever experienced in time's history. All right. And it says a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. And the reason why it says that is because when America gets destroyed, all right, it's going to be destroyed by hundreds of thousands of thermonuclear missiles covering the skies, blocking the sun, blocking the clouds. All right. It says a great people and a strong there has not been like like ever of many generations. It says in the NLT, a great and mighty army appears like nothing that has been seen before or will ever be seen again. And that's right. We never been through a nuclear war before. All right. As far as ICBMs being shot all across the globe, hitting a particular land, right? Which in our lifetime we're going to experience that, right? We're going to witness seeing a nuclear war, all right, by the way of ICBM missiles. It says, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. And you look at a ICBM missile, all right. You see the details and shit. You know what I mean? You got all these kinds of thermonuclear missiles, all right. You got the warhead on the top, all right, and when they're shot, find a better example. For an example, you know how the meteorite, goes zooming through the sky, and the front part of it is just burning and shit because of, how fast it's going through the sky. You know what I mean? The top of the tip, all right, starts to burn, through the sky. It says a fire devoureth before them, Alright? Fire burns in front of them, as it says in the NLT. Because when it's shot, alright, an ICBM missile can reach from Russia to America and reach to America to within 1 hour. And that's how fast the ICBM missile takes to land on America. Alright? So think about the ICBM missile, the head. Alright? That starts to burn up. And it says, and behind them a flame burneth. And that's right, the gas part, right? The rocket blast, you know what I mean? From behind. That's what you see in this particular photo. Or a good example, And it says, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yeah, and nothing shall escape them. That's right. Nothing escapes a thermonuclear missile. Alright? As it says in the NLT, it says behind them there's nothing but desolation. Because, when the thermonuclear missile hits the ground, everything gets burnt up. Everything becomes as like a desert. Alright? Nothing's going to escape. Alright? Nothing escapes the ICBM missile. Right? The appearance of them is as their appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. And the prophets of old, alright, they describe them to the best of their ability. Alright. You got the truck, alright, with the ICBM, alright. Horses are fast, so are, ICBM missiles. It says, as the horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of the mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in a battle array. It says, listen to the noise they make, like the rumbling of the chariot, like a roar of fire sweeping across the field of stubble, or like a mighty army moving to battle. It says, before their face the people shall be much pain, all face shall gather blackness. And that's right. We never witness a nuclear war before. Alright? And think about when all these missiles are getting shot all at once here on America. Alright, these people are going to be pissing in their pants. Alright? That's why I say before the face the people shall be much pain, and all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. They shall march every one on his way, and they shall not break their ranks. And that's right. These missiles, alright, they're not going to break their ranks. They're not going to be failed. Alright? They're going to hit their targets once they are shot. They shall, when they hit the ground, alright, them flames, they go up. Alright, they destroy buildings, they demolish and melt basically everything. Alright, because of the extreme heat that the ICBMs do. Damage to a plot of land. It says, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. And not even the Golden Dome, America's Golden Dome missile defense system can't even stop. Alright, this third world war by the way of nuclear missiles, right? Because there's gonna be thousands upon thousands of ICBMs being shot here in America. It says, neither shall one thrust another, they shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded, though they break through the fences without missing a step. You see, the missile defense systems, as it says in NLT, alright, they're not going to stop these ICBM missiles once they are shot. Alright? They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall, and they shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. And yeah, these ICBMs are going to basically destroy everything, right? The earth shall quake before them, and the heavens shall tremble, and the sun and the moon shall be dark, because all of them at once are going to be shot. Right? There's going to be thousands upon thousands that are going to be shot over here in America, covering the skies. Right? The moon, the sun, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that execute his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide it? Hey, nobody can survive a ICBM, nuclear war. All right, it's day of the Lord is very great and very terrible. Nobody can possibly survive it. All right, only the elect are going to be delivered out of this third world war when become. Says, therefore also now, saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning, and rend your heart, and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your power, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repented of him of the evil. And that's right, that's what we're doing right now. Making our calling and election sure, all right, so that we don't have to, um, partake in this in this second death, all right, which is by the way of thermonuclear missiles, all right, which will kill the 2/3 pretty much, right? The lake of fire, the second death. Second Ezra 16:13. For strong is his right hand, and bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and they shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. That's right. In the scriptures, and even in the Apocrypha, it talks about ICBM missiles, right? Showing you that this third world war, it will come to pass, because you see, these where all right. It would describe the ICBM missiles as as an arrow, because it's exactly what it looks like, right? When you actually look at it, it says, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and they shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And only an ICBM missile can do that. Why? Because it's called an intercontinental ballistic missile. Alright? A missile that can reach from one end to the earth to the other. As if, you got Russia on one side and America on the other. Alright? Or China on one side and America on the other. Right? That ICBM can make it there within 1 hour. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Alright? This nuclear war is going to be with 1 hour. Just by 1 hour. And yeah, the beast, NATO and the EU, the beast, even including Spain. Right? Trump just spoke up against Spain, their own allies, and basically putting sanctions on them. And hey, these other nations, even America's allies, alright, they're gonna turn their backs against the United States. Yeah, you see, opinion. I've never been a patriot, but Spain standing up to Trump has made me one. And yeah, these nations are going to eventually stand up against the whore. Right? It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, by the way of ICBM missiles. For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth, which is Babylon the Great, America." Alright? And that's exactly what's going to happen. Alright? These nations, NATO and the EU, even America's enemies, alright, they will soon shoot their missiles over here on America's soil. Alright, once the MOTB has been implemented globally first. But with that, hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.